Darlington, it's your home track.
Right. Yeah.
Why is Darlington so special to you?
Well, the reason it is, you hit it on the head. It's my home track.
Uh-huh.
And it's a tough racetrack, but I believe if you went around and asked everybody, they tell you they'd maybe rather win Darlington than Daytona. Because you get a Southern 500 under your belt, and it's there to stay.
And you've got 5.
5, yeah.
Looking back over your career, how amazing is that? Typically, sometimes a driver can buckle under the pressure. They put too much pressure on themselves to win at home. But you've won 5 times at home.
Yeah.
What is it about Darlington that you liked, and why did you have the success you had there?
It's a tough old racetrack, and just like I said before, I think everybody wants to win at Darlington, but it was my home track, and I wanted to win at home.
Tell me some old stories about Darlington. You know, how'd you get started there?
How did I get started there?
Yeah.
Well, you know, I was running dirt tracks and short tracks before I ran Darlington, but I ran there when I was 17 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And it's I had some friends that had a car. I wanted to have a car, so we went, all of us, a bunch of us went together and bought a Pontiac, and made it into a race car.
Uh-huh.
And, so that was my first ride over there, was in a Pontiac.
Okay.
I ran my first race in Darlington too, but it was on the hill and going into Darlington, a soapbox derby.
Right.
So I ran the derbies a couple of years. I didn't win anything, so I said, if you're going to be in the racing business, you need some horsepower. You need to get out of these soapbox derbies. So I built my first car and started off at Sumter at the quarter-mile dirt track in Sumter.
Mm-hmm.
And ran the short tracks for a while. And finally got a ride in a Western, what you call them now, Western Cup car. And I ran Darlington several times when I was still young, but I never had any really good equipment. And but I knew I always wanted to win there. And I can ride back now and get goosebumps. That's how much I think of it.
Are there any?
The first race I went to over there, I was a teenager, and with some teenage boys, and I didn't have enough money to buy a ticket to get in, but I walked around to the back, going towards the back side of the racetrack and on the fence, and I saw a place under that fence that looked like I might could squeeze through it. So I went under the fence my first time, but during my career I went under the fence, on top of the fence, and over the fence.
You have done it all for sure.
I did it all with fences over there.
What memories do you have from your first win? I know you said before your first Southern 500 win was your favorite. What are some memories that come back when you think of that first win?
Oh yeah. Well, that was the happiest day of my life when I won my first Southern 500. Because, like I say, I knew I had pretty much arrived then. That would enable me to get better equipment and going up the ladder.
It was for more reasons other than it was at home. That was the race to signify you had
Yeah,
arrived?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay. What kind of momentum did that give you? I mean, what, did that give you the confidence you were looking
Oh
for?
yeah, winning that Southern 500, I knew I could do. I knew I could do it then. And other places too, you know.
Uh-huh.
And so that was a big turning point for me. Boy.
Well, do you remember anything from the final lap of that first win, where you knew you were going to win? What kind of feelings come back?
Oh, I remembered. Yeah, I couldn't hardly believe it. Really.
Really?
I said, you know, I'm gonna win this thing. And sure enough, we did. And it was hot.
What's different from back then compared to what it is now in racing? What are some things that have fascinated you over the years, that how things have changed?
Well, one of the things is I just showed you that picture, Emma. That's where we used to look when we got out of a race car. And they get out now and look like they're going to church.
Yeah, it's a whole lot more
Yeah.
different era. Just
Yeah.
how hard was it to manage those cars back then? You know, you're trying to lug those things around the track, all that horsepower and the G-force and whatever.
Yeah.
How hard was that? How much training did
Oh,
you have
man.
to do?
Man, it was rough back then. You know, we didn't have power steering when I first started racing.
Uh-huh.
And now they got power steering, air conditioning helmets, and air conditioning suits, and they got it made now.
What do you remember from your final Southern 500 win? Your fifth one, and obviously every driver wants to win more.
Yeah.
But now looking back, do you have any memories from that final Southern 500
Yeah,
win?
yeah. I remember every Southern 500 that I won over there.
Okay.
But the last one, the fifth one wasn't as good as the first one,
Right.
or the second one, or the third one. They, you know, that first one was the biggest thing that ever happened to me. And but I remember the last Southern 500 I ran. I forgot what happened in that race now, but it's always Darlington is a race that every driver in this country wants to win, and but it's tough. It's a tough racetrack.
Is that kind of mentality, the tough mentality that you had, is that a reason you thought you succeeded so well at a track that's too tough to tame, as they say?
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that you won there so much, what would you be like before a race at Darlington? Would you be nervous? Would you be just confident, I've done this before, or how would you?
Oh no,
approach that?
I wasn't nervous. I just wanted to go out there and do my job, you know. Get in that winner's circle.
You know, yeah, obviously you had great team owners throughout your career. What kind of impact did they have on you?
On winning
Yeah.
at Darlington.
Yeah.
Well, it made me realize that I really wanted to be very successful in the sport, and I wanted to win the championship. And I drove for the Wood Brothers for 5 years, and we didn't run all the races. We just ran the big races.
Mm-hmm.
And then while I was with them, Ford Motor Company pulled out of racing for a couple of years.
Uh-huh.
And that's when I went to Indianapolis. I'd run Indianapolis twice, but after that, I went full-time Indy cars after Ford pulled out, because I'd had some investments, and I knew I had to make some money just to pay them off. So.
And you did well at Indianapolis. Is there just a general racing terminology or racing mentality that you had that helped you succeed no matter what you were racing, whether it was a Cup car, whether it was an Indy car, or?
Yeah. It's all it's all racing, but you got to use different techniques and different kind of cars.
You make it sound so simple. I'm sure it was.
Well,
But yeah, it's something. The Indianapolis 500. They mention you when it comes to it. They say, you know, he's won all these races in NASCAR, and he's had all these good finishes at Indy. And the greatest support system, from what I understand, is your wife. Why don't you tell me how you met her?
I met her. She was working in a drugstore in Atlanta,
Okay.
South Carolina. That's right down the road here.
Uh huh.
And a friend of mine told me about her.
Oh yeah.
And so I went down there next day, and sure enough, she was just what he said she was. So we started going together and ended up married. We've been married 67 years now, I think.
That's amazing. Were you in high school? Were you?
No, I was out of school.
You were out of school.
Yeah.
Were you
Yeah.
already racing at the time, or where were you?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
What kind of impact did she have on your racing career?
Well, she had a big impact. She was behind me 100% my whole career, and that makes a big difference when you got your family and your wife behind you. And
What were some of the little things she did for you? Like some things that, I know a lot of times people can take things for granted, but it seems like a lot of things your wife does and did would really would carry you and give you that extra strength. What were some of those things she did?
well, she like I say, she was always behind me, and I've known a lot of drivers through my career that the wives didn't like it. Didn't like them being race car drivers, and in fact, some of them quit because of that. But she never got on me about being a race car driver.
Was she in Victory Lane with you at often?
Oh yeah,
Really?
yeah.
How
yeah.
important was that to you to have?
It's
her?
very important. Yeah, very important. Yeah.
What are some other things y'all like to do besides go to the races? Would y'all have a simple movie night, or what are some fun things y'all like to do away from racing?
That's about all we did.
Really? Okay.
That's about all we did.
Did she used to race anything when she was younger? Maybe go-karts or something? Or she just got into it? She had always been a race fan.
Well, I don't think she was a race fan when we met.
Really?
She became a race fan.
That's usually how it works.
Yeah.
Did you have to teach her a lot so she'd get into it? Or?
Well, no, she was a pretty good driver when we met herself.
Oh, really?
Yeah. In fact, she was working in a drugstore down there and driving a three-quarter ton pickup truck with a straight gears in it and all. So she knew pretty much what she was doing.
So that was just another thing to make you fall for her, right?
Yeah,
have a little something more in common, right?
Yeah. Sure did.
Just over the years, you've been married for over 60 years. What does this marriage mean to you? What does it mean to have her?
Well, it's meant a lot. You know, when things having her, and of course my girls. I had 3 girls, and it made me want to do as good as I could do, because I wanted to provide for them and let them have as good a life as they could have.
And obviously, I've seen some full family photos of your family in Victory Lane. Would that happen a lot too? I know.
Oh yeah. I count them a lot.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Because I know sometimes teenagers can be in school and whatever, but y'all went as well. So,
Yeah.
Okay. You're one of the legends in the sport. Does it blow your mind sometimes that you're held in such a high regard? You seem so humble.
It's I think about it a lot. I grew up on a farm,
Uh-huh.
and In my early days, milked a cow before I went to school in the morning,
Okay.
and plowed a mule in the afternoon when the school was out. And just like like you were talking about the Indy 500s and those things. 24 hours of Le Mans in France. And I took my family with me to France. And but doing things like that makes me wonder, how could that have happened to a farm boy from Sardis, South Carolina? And I think about that a lot. It's pretty unbelievable, really, how a farm boy from Sardis, South Carolina did what I did.
Is that how you would like to be appreciated in NASCAR? Is that how you would like your legacy to be?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Because everybody talks about, you're tough on the track. And, I was a little kid when you were racing. And obviously I remember watching you on TV. Oh, by the way, the Dukes of Hazzard. How did that happen?
They just called me asked me if I wanted to make an episode. I made 2 episodes of it, and I did. In fact, I took my family with me to California.
Now, how fun was that? You almost became a Duke. You were right there with Bo and Luke.
Yeah. Those boys have been good friends ever since.
Really?
Yeah.
Has it been a couple years since you talked, or have y'all talked more recently, or do y'all talk on the phone, or?
Well, I do talk on the phone to John every now and then.
Okay, John Schneider?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you feel you were already so popular at the time? What did that do for your popularity and marketability to be on the Dukes of Hazzard, where everybody was just watching?
I still get tons of fan mail. Still get it, tons of it, and they were all write a little note in there. And most of those notes, I say, "I watched you on Dukes of Hazzard."
I bet there's no telling how many General Lee cars they probably sent you to autograph.
Right, a bunch of them. Yeah.
What was there a funny moment during filming that you remember? Would y'all clown around a little bit in between filming, or what was it like? Together those 2 episodes.
Yeah, we had a good time. They were all race fans, and
Really?
oh yeah. So we became friends right off the bat.
Okay.
All of us, everybody on the show.
Was any of them a fan of yours? I mean, already, or did they like another driver, or?
No, yeah, they like different drivers. They didn't all like me. I mean, they made that like they did, but I'm sure all of them didn't like me.
So who did?
I mean, with my fans.
So who did like you? Did any of people on the set, were they a Cale Yarborough fan to begin with, or?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I about forgot all their names
I know
now.
there's so many. The guy that played Roscoe, Ross Hogg, Catherine Bott.
Yeah.
But it's nice to know that there was people who were already big fans.
Yeah.
Just what things would y'all do in between filming?
We talk racing and talk about making making movies and stuff like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
And just once that, how fun was that? Just
That was a lot of fun.
now there's a race car at the Florence Center. Was that the final car you raced in Atlanta?
Yeah.
What memories do you have about that car? That it was the last Cup car you ever drove.
Yeah.
To know it's here in Florence, to know that anytime someone goes in the Florence Center, they see that car. What comes to your mind when you think of that car?
Well, it's like I say, it's the last car I drove, and I'm glad it's home. and it's got a home there. They gonna have it forever.
Did you make a decision before the season that it would be your last, or
Yeah, yeah,
that can be a grind?
yeah.
What just what things would your family do? I know you said you went to France and they would go to the races with you all the time. Just talk about the relationship with your daughters. Just what things would y'all like to do? Maybe outside of racing.
We had a lake house.
Okay.
My dad would put us on his shoulders and we would jump off and get the clams. He's taught us how to ski. He a wonderful, wonderful with us.
Oh, that Donnie came here a couple years ago to talk to you. How meaningful was that? When y'all got to talk, just to reminisce with him.
Yeah, it was nice of them to come by. We had a fight, but we were friends right after the fight. And have always been friends. Yeah. Bobby's been there, spent the day with me.
Well, looking ahead, looking back to the '79 Daytona 500, that obviously elevated NASCAR to such great heights. Does it amaze you to this day of what that did for the sport?
Yeah, and it made the sport.
How so?
Everybody was snowed in, everybody was watching it on television, and people watched it, had never seen a race before, made them race fans.
How much did your fan mail increase after that race?
How much did...
How many more fans wrote?
I think I had a bunch more. Yeah.
To win 3 championships in a row, you were the first person to ever do that. People still talk about that to this day, even. How much? What were those 3 years like for you?
In IndyCars?
In NASCAR from 1976 to '78.
Yeah. They were all good years. Good years.
What made you so good during those 3 years?
Oh, yeah. I always wanted to win the championship. Mm-hmm. And then when I won that first one, I wanted to win another one. And if I had stayed with Junior Johnson, we'd have probably run 7, 8 championships. Because we were that good a team. But I was tired of running them all, and all my children growing up and me not around.
And even here in the PD, you're regarded more than just a driver. You're a successful businessman. Mm-hmm. You were a one-time politician, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Yeah.
How do you want your legacy to be in the PD? That the PD has had such a big place in your heart. How do you want your legacy to last in the PD?
Well, I just want people to know that I'm very fortunate to do what I did, and know that I always try to treat people right, and hope I have a good name.
Well, when you think of Darlington Raceway, certainly Cale Yarborough is one of the first people that you think of, and our garage is named in his honor. And when you think about a NASCAR driver who was tough, who was competitive, who was fiery, you think of Cale Yarborough. And I had the privilege to go out and visit Cale here about sometime in late June. He wasn't able to come to the throwback weekend, and we had some items that we wanted to give him as part of his inclusion on the 75 greatest drivers. And so I went out to his house out there in Sardis and spent almost 2 hours visiting with him and his wife, Betty Jo, and just had a wonderful visit. And he loves Darlington Raceway. And he used to tell me, Kerry, when I drive by that racetrack, the hair on my neck still sticks out. And he's somebody that when, like I said, when you think of Darlington, you think synonymously, you think of Cale Yarborough. And, I just think that he has been somebody that has been an icon, not only in this part of the state and in this part of the community at Darlington, but in NASCAR. And, you look back over his career, and it's as good as it gets. And I do know that the opportunities that I've had to visit with him since I've been track president are memories that I'll always take with me.